Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys in California. Before I begin, give all praise to Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth, so we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, it's getting crazier and crazier every day. Most High is showing out and showing off every day. He's growing his people. We are growing spiritually. He's given us confirmations everywhere. He's showing us about our past in order to combat the ones that are presently still saying that we are just African Americans. Our history started with slavery, that the ancient Greeks and the ancient Romans were the ones who have the primary information. They're the primary sources of information. The Most High is tearing down these walls daily, and is using his people to do so. We're going to be getting into some more great information that just, confirms the fact that these Gentiles have stolen all of our information and they used it for evil. And now that the Most High is awakening his people, you still got many in our nation who have forgotten who they are. And they've really forgotten the fact that the information that these Gentiles have, that they've used for evil, was originally ours, and it was used for good. It was used for the glory of the Most High. See, when the information and the power was in our hands, the Gentiles came to us to rule over them. Everything had its order. Now the Most High is moving to restore that, and you have many in our nation who can't accept the fact that these Gentiles have been sitting on your information. Just let that sink in. The Gentiles have been sitting on our information. And now the Most High is releasing it back to us. And that's what this struggle is right now. Many not being able to accept the fact that the Father is the author of the entire book. He's the author of the things that have happened with the Gentiles, and he's the author of the things that are coming back to us. We get confused with the way the church has set things up. And see, the church has set things up to be easy. The church has set information up to be very easy to get. But the easy information is the information that the abominable church wants you to have. But see, our true power conceals a matter, hides information, does not just put it out there for everyone to have. That is an abominable church attribute. The Most High is not going to make it easy for you. He's going to make you work to find him. Because then he's sifting through the riffraff that way. That's why Proverbs 25:2 says, it is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. Now, our nation just hears words and they get scared. They hear the word occult. Oh my God, it's a cult. It's a cult. Oh, it's horrible. It's evil. They hear the word esoteric and that's evil. That's witchcraft. That's Ish's stuff. That's Ish's information. Well, Ish doesn't have this information. He did not have this information. Ish was just like all the other Gentiles, clueless, backwards, the basest of men. You give the Gentiles too much credit. They had been working to steal our information. That is what they coveted the whole time. They coveted the blessing. Esau wanted the blessing, and he was going to get it for a time, and he did. But now the Father is working to return this information back to our people, and you got people standing in the doorway trying their best to make sure that you don't go and get it. Who else stood in the doorway this whole time so we wouldn't know who we were? Was that not the Gentiles? Was that not the abominable church? We got abominable churches in different phases in this awakening. Just make sure you understand that. They all follow the exact same pattern. And we're going to get into that right now. There's nothing new under the sun. So if you know the pattern of how the churches have acted and conducted themselves in the past, you can see how they're going to conduct themselves today, because they don't do anything different. So if you want to know who the abominable church is today, look at their actions. Look at the things that they do. They prohibit us from getting the information to return back to the Father. They prohibit us from chasing the Father. That's how you know who the abominable church is today. And remember, the abominable church has many harlots. So we're going to get into this right now. It is the glory of God to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. The working definition of the occult. The occult is a body of science which is not widely known to the general population, consisting of hidden knowledge about the workings of the human psyche and the laws of nature, both seen, which is the physical laws, and unseen, spiritual laws. What I want to concentrate on is hidden knowledge. The occult, hidden knowledge, doesn't mean evil, just like some people keep telling you. Doesn't mean that it's evil. It just means that it's hidden. Whose power hides information? I don't know. Oh, our power does. Our God does. Our God hides knowledge. He does not give it to everyone. You have to search for it. Even with the Most High makes you go through trials and tribulations, are you going to continue to search for it no matter what he puts you through? Are you going to, give up at the first sign of problems? Are you going to give up at the first signs of trouble? Most High is going to test you and see how serious you are about following him. He's going to attack you physically. He's going to attack you spiritually. He's going to attack you mentally. He's going to do different things to see if you have that stick-to-itiveness to follow the Most High, no matter where he goes through, no where he puts you through, no matter where he goes. You have that, if you have children and you see them, wanting to be like you, and then when things get rough and get tough, are they going to just give up? Or are they going to keep on wanting to please you by, working through the adversity? And when they do work through that adversity, you love them even more. You get that closer bond with your child when you see them working through that adversity to make you happy, to please you, as opposed to maybe the child who quickly gives up and doesn't really want to work hard for things. You get that special bond with a child that works hard to try to please you, goes out of their way to try to please you. No matter, what obstacles you put up, they're going to try to bust through it every single time. So the things that we have with our children is just like a little, many, like a microcosm of what the Most High puts us through. So right here, the Most High conceals things. When you see the word occult, you usually think of that hidden knowledge. Who's hiding the knowledge? Our power is hiding this knowledge. Esoteric's the same thing. Like a small group of people are going to understand it. A small group of people are going to get it. Is that not just like the truth? Only a small portion of us understand the Bible. Only a small portion of us understand the second stick. Only a small percentage of us are going to understand the historical information that the Most High is bringing out right now. Only a small portion is going to understand the Kabbalah and that information and information from the Zohar. The Most High has his information everywhere. Not just in the Bible, not just in the second stick. Our information is everywhere. The little thing I was listening to actually this morning, I was watching a little bit of Doctor Strange, and there was a very important part in the movie that I didn't really pick up on until this morning. It's about the 46-minute mark of this Doctor Strange movie, where Doctor Strange was doing a little practice, a little fighting with one of the other brothers actually in the courtyard. And he asked the guy he was fighting with, sparring with, he said, "How old is the Ancient One? Does anybody really know how old she is?" And the brother he was sparring with said, "Well, we know that she's Celtic, but no one really knows how old she is." See, those things, once the Most High says he gives you this understanding, you're going to see the truth everywhere because the truth is universal. Watch it yourself. Go to that 46-minute mark. Listen to it. He goes, "We know that she's Celtic." So they're admitting the fact that the Celts were the ancients. The Celts were the originals. No one knows how old she is, but we know that she was Celtic. The Ancient One, the one that they all look up to. She was Celtic. She was the one who had the vast majority of the knowledge that they were all trying to get the knowledge from her. So in that little segment right there, they're letting you know there weren't no ancient Greeks with all this information. There weren't any ancient Romans that had any of this information. It came from the real ancients, the ancient Celts. They are associated the ancient knowledge, the ancient understanding, the ancient information with the Celts. They're not going to come right out and tell you that, but you don't need them to. That's why we have the Spirit, because the Spirit's already told us that we are the ancients, that we are the ones that have the understanding, that we were the ones that were given this understanding, because the whole world has worked so hard to keep it away from us, to keep us away from our heritage, from our knowledge. And the world is still working today to keep you away from your heritage and your knowledge and understanding. But see, just like that child who breaks through all the barriers to please his father, to please his mother, we are doing exactly the same thing, brothers and sisters. We're doing exactly the same thing. We are not letting people stand in our way to keep us away from pleasing our father and our mother. So in that clip right there, within like a 15 seconds, 20-second, a conversation, they confirmed all this information that we've been given about the Black Celts. Knowledge, wisdom, coming from the Holy Spirit. That's why they had her as a woman, portraying a woman as a movie. Because she was the one that had all this knowledge and understanding. She was the Ancient One. She was the Celts. Do you think you can make this stuff up? The Most High makes them put it in all these different areas. That's why we have to search in this book, in that book. Look at this movie. Look at this information here. Because it's everywhere. And once you have the proper understanding, you'll see our stories everywhere. You think that they would, if they were, talking about how ancient and important the Greeks were when they said that, oh, she's an ancient Greek, or she's an ancient Roman, knowing damn well that they're not ancients. They had to really tell you who the real ancient were. And the ancients are the Celts. The Celts were the ones that were the ancient ones, and they were the ones with the knowledge and understanding. That's where they got all of their information from to write all these different books, and they just attribute it to themselves, like the ancient Greeks. Like Herodotus is the father of history. Pliny wrote Al Naturel, the first encyclopedia. Pythagoras, the first philosopher. They were the first of everything. But in the movie, they told you that the first and the ancients and all the knowledge were the Celts. And just like you go back to the last video, I gave you all this information showing you who the original Celts were and then the Druids. And what they look like and their structure, their skin tone and all that other stuff, and even their Hamitic languages and all of that. So you can go back and review the last video. So when anybody wants to talk about primary sources, whatever else, you can just show them that video. You can show them that information. And tell them they have to start proving stuff. They can't just keep coming around just saying things, saying stuff. Like, oh, occult just means evil. Esoteric, that's evil. Oh, Kabbalah, that's evil. Kabbalah, oh, that's all the Jewish people stuff. No, it's not. And I'm going to show you some other information right now. The Kabbalah is not the Ish's information. The Kabbalah was given to our ancestors a long time ago. And really, like what I say with many people is this. I'm not here to convince any of you of any of this. If you don't agree with it, or it's not in your spirit to agree with it, keep it moving. This is not for everyone. Because, see, just like when we talk to Gentiles about the truth, about how many times have we shown Gentiles through Scripture, because they want to see things in Scripture, how many times have we shown them who we are in Scripture? We can show them 50, 60, 70 scriptures showing how we are the true Israelites. And they will say what? Oh, I don't believe it. Oh, that's your interpretation. I don't care how many scriptures you show me. I don't believe it. Because it's not in them to believe it. It's not for them to believe. The Most High has not given them the wherewithal to be able to accept this truth. That's exactly what's happened when we, were coming into this truth. And, I can speak for myself. I was learning scriptures front and back, memorizing everything else, so that just in case I had a conversation with someone, I could just, get all into the Bible, into the scriptures, and have that conversation. And that time never came because these Gentiles pretty much, demonstrated that they don't know anything. Then John 3:16, Galatians 3:28, and that was pretty much the extent of their knowledge. Once you got past all that, you can start breaking those things down. They had nothing else for you. So if you're not predisposed to believe this information, no matter how much I prove or show you different things about the Kabbalah, about how is our stuff, and how even Zion Lex going to you and tell you in the original Hebrew what the words mean, and you're still going to dismiss it, then it's not for you. Then keep it moving and go do you. And that's how this is. If it's not for you, keep it moving. It's not for everyone. See, our Father conceals information, and he also conceals it from other Israelites, not just Gentiles. Not all Israelites are going to get this information either. But the ones that don't get it always want to make it seem as if whatever they do have is the only information. And if anybody has anything different, then they're evil, they're going off, they're making up stuff, it's a new doctrine, whatever. And hey, that's fine. I'll be that, whatever. If you want to say we're bringing a new doctrine, we're bringing back our original doctrine. Now, if that's not what you want to believe, then so be it. No problem. The Most High will show at the end who's right and who's wrong. The Most High is going to show who he was dealing with and who he's not. I have no problem waiting to see who the Most High proves right. It's all about, do you teach what the Most High gives you, and then we'll see at the end who the Most High, gave this information to and that information to. Ultimately, it doesn't matter what we say; it matters what the Most High proves. And I have no problem with that. I feel very, very comfortable with the position the Most High has put me in and the information he's given me. Now the question is, do the other people feel it's comfortable? Do they really feel like they have the full understanding? And you'll be able to tell by the actions of those people. Are they comfortable with what they're teaching? Are they comfortable with what they're doing? Do they feel like the Most High has really given them this information and this understanding? If they do, they'll be at peace with it. They will just teach what the Most High gives them. Said the Most High showed me this morning. Just confirmation. I get confirmation all the time of what the Most High gives me. He'll give me something in my spirit. I'll write it down. And then the Most High will just keep giving me more confirmation. I'll just ask, and I say, Father, please, give me this more confirmation. Show me this here. Show me that there. And the book will just open up to a certain point. It happened. I got this book. I'm going to show you guys in a little bit. Yesterday or day before yesterday. I think it came yesterday. And within 5 minutes, I got confirmation of something that I had been asking the Most High for. Within 5 minutes, the book just opened up to the certain section I happen to be reading, and you're going to see what it showed me in a little bit. Just confirming what the Most High has already showed me. And on top of this confirmation I got yesterday, from this certain, topic, then I got this one this morning from just watching a little bit of Doctor Strange here, and the fact that they said that, the ancient one was Celtic. The one that they all strive to be like, and the one they try to get information from. So they're letting you know that the Celts were the ones with the ancient information. This is the book right here, The Gnostics and Their Remains, Ancient and Medieval, okay, by C.W. King. And we see also David Nutt there, all right, 1887. Right here at the bottom, Abraxas, its numerical force. And we've been talking about how Ish are not the ones that were given the Kabbalah. All they do, just like they do everything else, is they just take it. Not just them, all the Gentiles take our information, say it's theirs, and use it for evil. This is going to show you right here. This is going to be confirmation of the fact that Ish was not the one. The Kabbalah is not theirs. Right here. To find out some deep mystery expressed by the numerical value of the letters in a name is the grand foundation of the famous science of the Kabbalah. Although the Jewish Talmudists now engross all the honor of the discovery, it is but consistent with the known character of that very uninventive race to suspect that they borrowed the first notion from a foreign source, Chaldea, the real fountainhead of all their spiritual knowledge. And we already know Chaldea is what? Code word for Ireland. Code name for the Celts. Celts are our people. So now we know how to decipher when they say certain things. They're not going to tell you that they got this stuff from Ireland. They're going to say, oh, we got it from Chaldea. But now we know it's from this book, from Brother Kudumeo, and he had his breakdown. The last video, I put his video also in the description box. So you guys can go back and check that if you haven't seen it yet. I'll be getting into it some more as well. I shared some information in the video from the book as well. We know that Chaldea is talking about Ireland. We know that they cannot prove that Chaldea is where they say it is in the so-called Middle East. Now you know why they made all these things up in the Middle East. All these landmarks, everything else, to take you away from your history of being the Celts. And they're going to say, oh, it was the so-called Middle East. They were all over here in the so-called Middle East. So therefore, it takes all of your focus away from Ireland and Britain and puts it over there in the so-called Middle East. Who was the ones that gave Ish the lands in the Middle East? Oh, the British. You think they had maybe a vested interest in making it seem like the so-called Holy Land was not where they're at, but actually so-called in the so-called Middle East? And the Balfour Declaration? You see how deep this goes. And we still got plenty of the brethren in the truth who are still pushing the so-called Middle East is our homeland, even though there's all this other information that says otherwise. They can't prove that it's in so-called Middle East. But our brethren don't even think about that and go search elsewhere. But like I said, that's why the Most High is the one who dictates who goes where, who gets what information, not us. We don't do that. The Father does. But this is huge right here. This is just confirmation, and all of it's true. Right there it says, it is but consistent with the known character of that very uninventive race to suspect that they borrowed the first notion from a foreign source. Does that not true of like how they are now? What exactly are they? Are they inventive? Are they inventive? Are they inventing things right now? Are they making the world a better place from all the stuff that they're inventing and doing for the world? No. But that's all these Gentiles. They've taken our information for themselves. I mean, this is, so true. And they say it right there, they talk about if they get it from a foreign source, Chaldea, the Chaldees in Ireland, from the ancient ones, from the Celts. Who are the Celts? Our people, because they had all this information that was given to Adam, to Enoch, to Noah, to Moses, to David, to Solomon, and to a few others. This was the occult information, the hidden information. And you go back to Psalm 25, the fact that he conceals a thing. Our power, our Father conceals information. This is huge. And you connect it with the movie and the Celt, and you connect it with the last video and all that other information. Connect it with Brother Kurumeo's video as well. And you start to see how all this stuff starts to connect. So again, to find out some deep mystery expressed by the numerical value of the letters in a name is the grand foundation of the famous science of the Kabbalah. Although the Jewish Talmudists now engross all the honor of the discovery, it is but consistent with the known character of that very uninventive race to suspect that they borrowed the first notion from a foreign source, Chaldea, the real fountainhead of all their spiritual knowledge. The true, right there, fountainhead, the real fountainhead of all their spiritual knowledge. They got all this information from our people. This is on page 250 of this book. Most High had me open this book. Within 5 minutes, I was already here. And he led me right to this page and right to this paragraph. So Most High works not just with other people, he's working with me as well. He's showing me information all the time. And he gives this information to me to bring to you. Some people act as if he only works with them and that he only shows them things. The Father works with many of us. The Most High has a plan, and he's working his plan through many different people. But all these last few videos is all starting to, it's starting to show you the key to open up understanding when you're reading other books, historical books. You see our story everywhere. And it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to watch how the Most High unfolds his story. He's giving us more knowledge. Why is this? Because we are chasing after him. We're chasing after him in the concealed things. We're chasing after him in what is so-called taboo, places. But who's the person, or who is the group that says these areas are off limits and taboo? The churches. They're the ones that say this information is taboo and this, and that. And they'll make false equivalencies of certain things. They'll make up false equivalencies about, you're saying, you're saying this about this book. Well, this book means, something else. And it's like, whatever, man. Do you? And we'll see at the end who's right and who's wrong. But we know that Ish is not the one who came up with the Kabbalah. Ish is not the one who made it witchcraft. They might have used our information for evil. or for their own personal gain, but that's what they do. That doesn't mean that the information is evil. If they want to call it witchcraft or whatever else, hey, do you think they called it witchcraft when Moses was wielding it against the enemies? I'm sure they were calling it many things too. But he had many powers. And I'm sure the enemy, called it many things because he was pretty much lighting them up with the power that the Most High had given him. So like I said, Ireland, Ur of the Chaldees. Awesome book. Great information. Great understanding. It just, proves a lot of things. Proves a lot of things that the Gentiles have been telling us is wrong. And shows us how to open up our eyes and look at where our true heritage is. We have lands all over the place. And then look at how our enemy has gone out of their way to divert us from the truth and make us concentrate on another land. And how many people, even in our own nation, don't even question Esau and the Gentiles and their motives and what they've done to hide, our true lands and giving us a fake one. And why would they do that? Because they don't want you to get this, the fact that not only your lands did they usurp, but also your information. They usurped your information, your history, your heritage, everything. And the Most High has put the truth everywhere, and it's for the kings and queens here to be searching after. Kings are supposed to be searching after this information to bring this out to the nation. I'm going to continue right here because this is also part of prophecy. Prophecy is being played out. It's being played out right now. Even in, within the nation right now. We have people that, they have their beliefs as far as what they think should be taught and what shouldn't be taught and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing and what another man should be doing on his channel and, and all these other things. I said, this is all part of prophecy. And ultimately, the Most High's will be done. This is all prophecy. Check this out. We're going to continue with the same book, page 152. Moreover, in the dissolution of the universe, that is, when the number of perfect souls is made up, and the mystery is accomplished on account of which the universe has been created, then I will spend 1,000 years according to the years of light, ruling over the offspring of the light, and over the number of the perfect souls which have received all the mysteries. Then Mary said, Lord, how many years in the years of this world is 1 year of light? Jesus answered, 1 day of light is 1,000 years of this world. Wherefore 36 myriads, and a half of the years of the world make 1 year of light. I shall therefore reign 1,000 years of light, being king in the middle of the last peristates, being king over all the offspring of light, and over all the number of perfect souls that have received the mysteries of light. And ye, my disciples, and each one that have received the mysteries of the ineffable one, shall be upon my right hand and upon my left, being kings together with me in my kingdom. But the main thing right there is, let me see here, over all the number of perfect souls that have received the mysteries of light. We are to be searching after these mysteries of light. And ye, my disciples, each one of you that have received my mysteries in the ineffable one. Okay? So the main thing is to be looking for these mysteries. If you go back up here, it says, and over the number of the perfect souls which have received all the mysteries. See, we're supposed to be searching for all of the mysteries, not some of them, not a couple of them. We're supposed to be searching for all of the mysteries. And the Most High talked about how the Most High conceals a thing. So we're supposed to be searching out the Most High everywhere, looking for his mysteries, trying to uncover his mysteries. And if the Most High is dealing with you, he's going to lead you to these mysteries because he wants to be found. He wants to be chased, and he wants to see, your stick-to-itiveness and to continue to chase after him. So again, we have perfect souls which have received all the mysteries. That's what he's looking for. Don't get content with just the one or two that you found and think you found it all. because the Father has more. So that's what I want to get into real quick. Just talking about the attributes of the church and how the things that they've done in the past are the things that they're still doing today. They're still trying to, be obstacles to us finding the Most High. And they're going to show you how they were obstacles before and who they were persecuting before. And they're still trying to do the same things today. You're going to see a lot of the same things that were happening in the past happening today as well. So I want to get into the Adepts in the Western Esoteric Tradition by Manly Palmer Hall. Orders of the Quest. You can take a look here at the top. The Adepts. Some of the writings of Manus have survived, and from them we learn their concept of the divine nature. It's kind of like one of the first secret societies that the church was actually persecuting, at this time. It says, the Spirit of God is light, radiant, with the virtue of love, faith, fidelity, high-mindedness, wisdom, meekness, knowledge, understanding, mystery, and insight. Right here, this would be the divine nature. Okay, this is the Spirit of God and there's all these different attributes. This is what they believe. Okay, this is what these secret societies believed back then. That the Spirit of God is light, radiant, with the virtue of love, faith, fidelity, high-mindedness, wisdom, meekness, knowledge, understanding, mystery, and insight. We're supposed to be searching out these mysteries. These are all that I think that most of us would agree that these are the attributes of the Father. And also the attributes that we should have as a collective, as a church, as a called out, elect group. But see, this is what the church says about this. So this is what I would think that we know: understanding, high-mindedness, love, faith, fidelity, wisdom, meekness, knowledge. All this are all things that we should be striving for as a people. But see, this is what the church does. Leo the Great decided that such a belief should be stamped out, lest the creed of the church be extinguished. See, all those positive attributes, they're like, oh, hell no. We can't have that, because then that takes away the power of the church. They want to be the ones that are going to save you. They're the ones that they want to be the ones that you have to go to in order for you to, find your way to heaven. They're the ones that want to be put up on the hill, being that light to the world. And that if you don't go to them, you're going to hell. If you don't agree with their doctrine, you're going off and you're going to hell. All about that superstition. These are the attributes of the church in the past. These are the attributes of the churches today. The ones that are still under the abominable churches. They're not worried about wisdom, knowledge, high-mindedness. All they want is for you to get in line. They want you to just sit there and listen to everything that they say. They don't want to hear about all that other positive stuff. I don't want to hear about that. I would just want you to get in line and follow what I say. Be in order, in my order, because I'm the only one that can lead you to heaven. Everything else is just a bunch of garbage. Everything else that's outside of what I say is going to lead you to hell. I'm the only one that can lead you to heaven, and only teach what I teach, what I tell you you can teach. Those are the attributes of the church, and you can see it right here. They talk about all the positive things, the positive attributes of how Christ is, how God is right here. And the church is the total opposite. They're about ignorance, blind faith. Don't think for yourself. Don't learn anything. Just listen to what I tell you. Listen to what I've approved for your knowledge and understanding. Anything outside of this is going to lead you to hell. Anybody that teaches anything outside of this, they're evil. Don't listen to them. Unsubscribe. They're going to confuse you because you're not smart enough to figure it out yourself. So when you look at this, that's exactly what you see right here. So again, the Spirit of God is light, radiant, with the virtue of love, faith, fidelity, high-mindedness, wisdom, meekness, knowledge, understanding, mystery, and insight. Leo the Great decided that such a belief should be stamped out, lest the creed of the church be extinguished. This pontiff also found it embarrassing to contemplate the idea that in the spiritual succession, Jesus was succeeded by Manus, who was the last and greatest of the prophets emanated from the divine, and who was the ambassador of the light of the world. Okay, so that was one thing right there. It's kind of crazy when you sit there and think about a group actually being against those attributes and those things, but that's the church. That's how they are. So same kind of thing is going on right here. Okay, St. Augustine was drawn to Manichaeism because it interpreted the Christian religion in terms acceptable to his inquiring mind. He had already decided that the church was ridden with superstition and lacked philosophic depth. When you actually really start to study the church and their doctrines and the things that they say, you realize that they don't really have any philosophic depth. They don't have much depth. That's why they demand, that you just follow what they say. They demand blind faith because they can't prove anything that they say. So therefore they just want blind allegiance. That's exactly what they demand. They demand blind allegiance. You're in our group, but don't ask me any damn questions. You're in the group, okay, good. You're going to be saved, but don't ask me to explain anything to you. Don't ask me to, if you have questions or something else, hey, you know what? You're going to get confused. Just don't even listen to them. That's exactly what these churches push. So again, St. Augustine was drawn to Manichaeism because it interpreted the Christian religion in terms acceptable to his inquiring mind. See, if you want to actually think and get into, you have an inquiring mind, these churches, this modern day religion is not for you because they don't want inquiring minds. They want blind allegiance. He had already decided that the church was ridden with superstition and lacked philosophic depth. He remained absorbed in this so-called heresy, the church called it heresy, for 9 years, but was never able to penetrate deeply enough into the mysticism of the sect to overlook the shortcomings of the members. Certainly his subsequent opinions were influenced by his associations with the followers of Manus. He departed from them through a disinterest in mysticism, for which his intellect was not suited. The church, in the treatment of the Manichaeans, followed its usual procedure of accusing all heretical groups of practicing immoral and infernal rites. They do the same thing all the time. They just make accusations. They make false accusations. Oh, they're teaching, the devil. They're teaching devil worship. They're teaching this. They're going to lead you to hell. It's the same thing every single time. But when they're in a position of power, they can make accusations. They can say things like that. Okay? So again, the church in the treatment of the Manichaeans followed its usual procedure of accusing all heretical groups of practicing immoral and infernal rites. St. Augustine, who had an intimate knowledge of the sect, made no such accusations. Yeah, he was actually with them, so he's like, that doesn't really hold water, the stuff that you guys are accusing them of, because they really aren't doing that. But, it is what it is. His temperament would have inclined him to do so had there been any reasonable grounds. After departing from the heresy of Manus, St. Augustine came under the influence of Bishop Ambrose, a fine and noble man addicted to the teachings of Origen. Okay, and Origen now stands precariously on the borderline of heresy because he was kind of into this secret society information as well, but we won't get into that right now. I think that was it. Okay. So yes, so like I said, so Most High is giving us more knowledge understanding. He's making these connections. We're seeing that the Celts were the ancient ones. That's where these people got their information. They stole our information, spread out all over the place, used it for evil, used it for their own selfish purposes. And now the Most High is working to give it back to us so we can actually use it in righteousness once again. And you still got plenty of people who don't agree and that are going to stand in the way, which is fine because ultimately the Most High is going to be the one who's going to decide if what I'm saying is true or what they're saying is true. And I have all the confidence that the Most High's will be done. All praise is to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is Holy Spirit, Acknowledge it. Yahushai. Shalom, family.